Most gardeners end up with the same result every single year: enormous tomato plants, endless green leaves, and barely enough fruit to fill a bowl. They water, they fertilize, they follow every tip they've ever read, and still, more leaves than tomatoes. What if the problem isn't what you're doing, but what you're missing before you even start? In the next few minutes, you'll get the exact sequence that turns a leafy, underperforming plant into a heavy-producing one. Planting, pruning, watering, fertilizing, pest control, and at the very end, a single household item that activates something inside the plant almost no gardener knows exists. Stay with us. That last tip alone is worth the entire video. Here's what most growing guides get wrong. They treat the tomato plant as something to manage. Water it, cage it, spray it. But a tomato plant isn't trying to cooperate with you. Left alone, it sprawls along the ground like a vine, spreading outward, not upward. It produces leaves to cover as much ground as possible. Fruit is an afterthought. Once you understand that, everything changes. Your job isn't to tend the plant, it's to redirect it. To intercept that biological drive and channel every bit of its energy toward exactly one thing: dense, heavy, high-quality fruit. That's what this guide delivers. Let's start at the very beginning. Before the how, let's talk about the why, because understanding what a tomato plant actually wants is the most important thing you can do before you plant. Farmers in 16th century Europe who first cultivated tomatoes noticed something unusual. The plant refused to behave. It sprawled, rooted, spread. They called it unruly, not realizing they were watching millions of years of evolutionary programming at work. A tomato plant's biological mission is to spread its seeds as far as possible. It does that by sprawling, sending long stems along the ground, rooting wherever the stem touches soil, branching endlessly outward. That growth pattern has a name: indeterminate. Most tomatoes, especially heirloom varieties, behave this way. Without intervention, a single plant can spread 3 meters or more by the end of a season. It won't stop. It doesn't know how. Determinate varieties are the opposite, genetically set to reach a fixed size, produce all their fruit at once, and stop. Compact and predictable, but far less productive over a long season. Knowing which type you're growing changes how you prune, support, and fertilize. Get this wrong, and every other step works against you. Planting deep and using the stem. The first advantage you can give your plant costs nothing. Plant it deep, far deeper than you would with almost any other vegetable. Tomato stems carry tiny structures called adventitious root primordia along their entire length. The moment buried stem touches moist soil, those structures develop into actual, functioning roots. The more stem you bury, the larger the root system, and a larger root system means better water uptake, greater access to nutrients, and consistently more fruit. Before planting, strip off the lower leaves and leave only the top growth exposed. Set the plant deep into the hole, or lay it at an angle in a shallow trench for taller seedlings. Both approaches produce the same result. One more step worth taking: place a small amount of rock phosphate at the base of the hole before the plant goes in. It's a slow-release phosphorus source, sitting exactly where the new roots will grow, supporting root development and flower set from week 1. On spacing, cordon-trained plants pruned to a single main stem can go as close as 30 to 45 centimeters apart. Unpruned plants need at least 60 to 90 centimeters. Pruning, redirecting the plant's energy. This is where most gardeners lose the battle, not because they do something wrong, but because they do nothing at all. Every tomato plant grows lateral shoots from the junction between the main stem and each leaf branch. These are called suckers. Left unchecked, each one becomes a full branch, which produces its own suckers, and so on. The plant expands endlessly, covered in leaves, while fruit production gets diluted across hundreds of competing growing points. The fix: as soon as a sucker appears, pinch it off. For indeterminate varieties, you're training the plant to a single central stem, all energy moving upward into flowers and fruit. For beefsteak types, allow 1 or 2 lateral branches, but trim everything else. In wet climates, pruning is not optional. It's essential. Dense foliage traps moisture against the stems and creates exactly the environment fungal disease needs. By mid-season, the lower 60 centimeters of every plant should be completely clear. Support, training upward, not outward standard cages work for compact determinate varieties. For indeterminate plants reaching 2 meters or more, a horizontal overhead frame with vertical twine dropped to each plant is the most scalable solution. Twist the stem around the twine as it grows or clip it in place. The plant climbs, fruit hangs free, air moves through. Watering. Consistency is everything. Tomatoes need consistently moist soil, not waterlogged, not dry, but reliably steady. This single factor is responsible for two of the most common and frustrating failures: fruit cracking and blossom end rot. When a plant swings from dry soil to a sudden heavy watering, the fruit absorbs water faster than its skin can expand. It cracks open. Still edible if you cut away the damage, but shelf life drops sharply and mold follows. Drip irrigation is the cleanest solution. Water goes to the root zone, foliage stays dry, moisture stays even. Without drip, water deeply every few days rather than shallowly every day, and mulch generously to retain moisture and stop soil from splashing up onto the lower leaves. Fertilizing. Timing matters more than quantity. Early in the season, tomatoes need nitrogen to build stems and leaves. After the first month, the focus shifts. Move to a tomato-specific fertilizer, higher in phosphorus for root growth, flower set, and fruit development, and containing calcium to prevent blossom end rot. One critical mistake to avoid: do not keep applying nitrogen-heavy fertilizers once the plant is established. Excess nitrogen drives the plant straight back into leaf production, and you'll end up right where you started. Stay with us. There's one more thing that changes everything: pests and disease, and the advice working against you. Here's something worth knowing. The fertilizer industry profits when your plant grows lush and green. The pesticide industry profits when disease arrives. Neither profits when you grow clean, abundant fruit with nothing but soil, water, and the techniques in this guide. Keep that in mind every time you walk into a garden center. Now, what's actually coming for your plants? Blight and blossom end rot both are preventable, and neither is reversible once established. Blight thrives on moisture sitting on foliage. Keep the leaves dry, water at the base, and prune consistently for airflow. Blossom end rot traces back to watering consistency and the plant's ability to transport calcium up into the fruit. Steady moisture is the fix for both. Once either condition takes hold, there is no cure. Rust and powdery mildew. Both start low and climb. Remove affected leaves immediately at the first sign. If the infection has spread across a larger area of the plant, neem oil is the tool of choice, an organic broad-spectrum spray effective against fungal pathogens and insect pests, approved for use in organic gardening worldwide. Tomato hornworms. These caterpillars can strip an entire plant within 48 hours. Watch for bare stems and small dark droppings on leaves below. They're nearly invisible in daylight, but at night, a UV flashlight makes them glow bright green against the foliage. Spot them. Pick them off by hand. Birds and rodents. Birds go after tomatoes for moisture, not flavor. A bird bath nearby usually solves it. For rodents, snap traps at the base of each bed outperform poison, which travels up the food chain and puts wildlife and pets at serious risk. The one thing 99% of gardeners never try. There is one final step, and it's almost certainly already in your medicine cabinet. Dissolve one 250 milligram uncoated aspirin tablet in 1 liter of water. Spray it onto your tomato plants every 10 days, starting 2 weeks after planting. Here's why it works. When attacked by disease or pests, tomato plants naturally produce salicylic acid, the compound aspirin is derived from. This activates the plant's immune response. By applying a diluted aspirin solution before any threat arrives, you trigger that same immune mechanism in advance, priming the plant's defenses before they're ever put to the test. The result is stronger disease resistance, better fruit set, and measurably higher nutritional content in the fruit itself. More resistance, more fruit, better flavor. From one tablet. Go to your garden today. Look at the stems. Look at the suckers. Now you know exactly what to do.